Hi guys, it's Kino. Welcome to another video. So today we are going to be doing a career reading and we're going to be taking a look at the current and future energies of your career. I'm going to do a little bit more of a detailed breakdown of the reading once you pick your group. But for now, let's show you your options. There are 4 readings for you guys to choose from today. I'm going to show you each of these crystals up close one by one, and then please pick whichever one you feel drawn to the most. Number 1 is clear quartz. Number 2 is labradorite. Number 3 is titanium aura quartz. And number 4 is fire agate. Okay, so as always, take all the time you need to pick. You can pause the video if you need to. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with number 1. Hi number 1s. So if you guys chose this clear quartz heart, this is going to be your career reading. I want to start off by showing you guys the list that fully breaks down the reading. We are going to start off by taking a look at what energy you are currently embodying in your career. And then we're going to see what potential is currently lying within you and how it wants to be used or expressed in your career at this time. Then we are going to be moving into the future energies and finding out what is coming next for you. And we're going to look at this as like a series of events in chronological order, what you can expect to be coming your way. And then we will finish off with a message and advice from your higher self. I should mention for this what's next part, I don't have a particular time frame in mind for this reading. However, if there is one that you personally would like to know about, for example, if you want to know what's going to happen in your career over the next 3 months or over the next year, whatever it might be, just be sure to keep that time frame in mind while we are shuffling the cards. So that is all for what's going to be covered in today's reading. I also want to give a shout out to the community over on Patreon because they came up with this topic today. But with all of that being said, let's get into it. So the first thing that we're going to see is the energy that you are currently embodying in your career. What energy is group number 1 currently embodying in their career? So we have the Fate, accepting help and guidance. And we're gonna read this one from the guidebook. So the Fate, okay, so this is one of the cards in the court category, which means that right now in your career, you are embodying an energy of achievement and responsibility. Okay, and the Fate is on page 32, in case that is a significant number for you guys. 32 could also be an age where you will reach a significant professional peak. But let's see what this Fate card says. The court gardens stretch out before you, alive with the sound of birdsong. A couple passes in the distance, their laughter faint and cheerful. The sun, encompassed in its blue sky, warms the world around you. All is peaceful, and yet you feel as though you are being watched. The Fate sees everyone, sees their lives like shining threads, weaving the tapestry of life. The Fate sees each person's beginning and when and where their stories end. They're sworn not to interfere when those threads get tangled, but they can still offer some insight here and there. Some unexpected help is due to come your way. You may not be able to see what causes your struggles or know of those who plot against you, but others can, and they won't let you face it uninformed. This guidance may come from an unexpected source, so look out for signs that will guide you in the right direction. And then, yeah, this is in the upright, so we don't need to read the reverse passage. But this is very interesting. It feels like this group, you are definitely already pursuing your professional calling, or you are about to step into your higher calling. And when I say calling, I mean something that your soul intended to do on this earth. Also, when I was reading that passage, I had the visual of like a person wearing a dress with a long train and then someone rushing up behind them to like fix their train so that they don't trip over it, and like having someone who has their back like that. And also the fact that you guys had this card with the keyword achievement and responsibility, I thought of with great power comes great responsibility. And so it seems like this group, you are going through some sort of leveling up in your career where there are going to be more eyes on you. And this could be for a couple different reasons. Some of you guys might be literally growing a platform, like where you have a large audience who is watching you and watching what you do. For others of you, it seems like you are about to get promoted, or maybe you recently did get promoted, and you're in a position with more responsibility, and I almost want to say like higher stakes. And there's more eyes on you because there is less room to mess things up. It feels like there's a little bit of pressure in this position you're stepping into, where if you make a mistake or do something wrong, it can't so easily be like covered up or like overlooked. There's high pressure or high stakes in the position that you're about to enter in. And I think this is something that is quite exciting, and it can also be a little bit scary. I'm also thinking of like someone who is posting videos on the internet, and at first it's just like their few friends and family who are watching it, you know? So if it's not the best video in the world, or like if they stumble, if they mess something up, it's like whatever, only my friends are gonna see this. But then let's say suddenly millions of people are watching now, it's kind of like you are under some kind of microscope. And so that might be something that's a little bit difficult to get used to. I do think that you will get used to it over time. I definitely think that you have what it takes to take the pressures that you are stepping into to carry out this job with precision. I also think this is an opportunity. I know it can be scary, but I also think it's an opportunity to see ways in which you can improve. If you are being like heavily examined or put under a microscope like this, people might be pointing out little like things that you can fix and ways that you can do your job better. And if you're able to not take things too personally, this could actually be a really like blessed period for you with opportunities for a lot of growth. I think you're learning how to carry out your job with more like precision, and you're getting comfortable with the idea of taking on more responsibility for something that really matters to you. I just heard the word noble, so maybe your guides are saying it's quite noble that you are taking on this position, because I'm also hearing like someone needs to do this job. Like this is a job that is necessary for so many people, and it's noble of you that you're willing to take on this pressure, that you're willing to be like watched or examined in the way that you are, and carry out this job for those who need it. It's like there's a lot of people who would rely on you, or who need or who benefit from the work that you are doing. And this is your calling, or it's one of your callings, one of the professions that your soul picked out for themselves. Also, with this accepting help and guidance, I think something that you need to remember as you go along this journey is that no matter how high of a position you're in, no matter how good you are at what you do, you can always ask for help. And you are encouraged to ask for help. You're actually discouraged from pretending like you know everything or feeling like you need to know everything. For example, I don't know, like I'm the manager, I should know these things, or I should be very good at these things, or I have this big following, I should already know what I'm doing. If you put those expectations on yourself, you could be depriving yourself from assistance that could really help you, or from advice or guidance or even criticism that could really help you. So never put that pressure on yourself like I'm above asking for help, I'm above needing this advice. No matter where you're at in your journey, no matter how high up you are always worthy of that help, and you should never feel like you need to be 100% perfect or 100% know what you're doing. I'm a firm believer that no one really knows completely what they're doing. Some people might be better at winging it or hiding it than others, but we're all just trying to figure things out, and we're all just trying to do our best. And yeah, at the same time, I think no matter how high up or how advanced you get in your journey, like you're never above receiving advice or receiving feedback. So anyway, this seems to be a very exciting time. We're gonna pull a couple more cards from this deck to see what potential energy is lying within you and that wants to come out. Ooh, okay. Okay, let's take these two. So we have the Hound, Loyalty, Chains, and Promises. And then we have the Orator, Communication and Confidence. Wow, yeah, it looks like you guys are definitely, you're stepping into a leader position where you could be like giving orders to a group of people, or you are stepping into a position where you are seen and listened to by many. Like I'm seeing this crowd of people just waiting to see what you would say next, whether you are giving directions or whether you are like sharing your ideas and sharing your opinions with other. I see like a crowd around you, like your loyal, I guess you could say followers, your loyal followers or your team or your audience that are just waiting to hear what you will say next because they want to take it in or because they want to act on it. I definitely think at this point in your career, you're in a position or you're moving into a position where you have a lot of authority, where people really value your opinion and really value your outlook. It's like what you say carries a lot of weight, and there's people that are taking in like word for word what you are saying, which is very powerful. There is a little bit of pressure there, of course, but I think that you are going to do an amazing job. I guess with the previous energies that we just read, there could be a little bit of feeling of imposter syndrome, like these people are coming to me for answers, or these people are listening to what I have to say, and like I don't even know if I'm saying the right thing. And so I think that what this next step in your career requires of you is a trust of yourself, like learning how to trust yourself, that you are doing your job in the correct way, that you are saying what needs to be said and giving the directions that need to be given. And also taking some of that pressure off of yourself, that even if it did come to me not knowing what to say or not knowing what to do next, it's okay to admit that I don't know. It's okay for me to say, like, I don't know that answer right now. Let me do some research. Let me ask someone else. Let me get back to you. And know that whoever's listening to you will be understanding of that. It's like you feel a pressure because of how much importance like people are putting on you or your ideas, or how people are like eagerly waiting for what you have to say. And it's like, what if I say the wrong thing? It would be like, okay, like to use myself as an example, let's say that someone comments on my video and they are asking me a question about like, why does this happen when I do tarot readings? Or what does it mean if I'm having this spiritual experience? Sometimes I feel pressure or I feel nervous because I'm like, what if I don't give this person good advice? Or actually, I don't know the answer to what they're asking. And like, it should be okay for me to say like, I don't know the answer to that, you know? And I think sometimes we feel pressure that we have to know everything or always know what to say. And with this higher position that you're stepping into, I do feel like that pressure is going to be a challenge. And there's this balance between trusting yourself, like I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm saying, but also, even if I don't know, I can ask for help. I can give myself time and space to get more information so that I can come back with better information for this person. I hope that makes sense. Just don't put too much pressure on yourself, I think is really the key here. But with potential that I think you're wanting to embody, or your higher self is wanting to embody in this stage in your career, I think that your soul is craving to fully commit themselves to something or commit themselves to a long-term career path. I think your soul wants to see the difference that they can make within a career or the impact that they can have within a field of work if they commit to it for years and years and years at a time. It's almost like they want to see what kind of legacy they can leave, where if you're just taking short-term contracts or if you're jumping from job to job, obviously there's nothing wrong with that. I have changed jobs a lot in my life, but your soul has reached a point where just what they want to do is stay in one thing for quite some time and not only see how they grow within that position, but see how am I impacting this industry over time? How am I impacting this workplace over time? What is like the impact, the legacy that I'm leaving behind here? And I think also wants to feel loyally committed to clients or to coworkers or to a fan base, whatever it might be. Feel like that bond is really built with like the people they're interacting with. So, you know, not just having short interactions with people and then being like, oh, I'll never see you again. Like, I'm just imagining customers coming in, you're ringing through stuff and they're leaving and you'll never see them again. I think your soul is wanting to have a career where you are building bonds with the same people over time. So like regular clients or one-on-one clients or working with the same team or the same partner for a long time. Kind of finding your, I think hound is a dog, but like finding your wolf pack, essentially. Finding the group that you can be really loyal to. It's like your soul wants to settle in something long-term right now. And I think also your soul really wants to find like their expression and what they stand for. With this third eye here, your soul could also be wanting to exercise your psychic abilities in your career. Even if the job that you're in is not inherently one that is spiritual or psychic, your psychic gifts may be something that your soul wants to utilize in your career. So let's take some clarifying cards for these now. To clarify your fate oracle card, we have the 6th house with work. Very appropriate for a career reading. We have habits, health, service, colleagues, employees, skills, workplace, daily routines, nutrition, diet, fitness, hygiene, checkups, and responsibilities. So what can I say, group number 1? It really looks like this is a time for you to step into the person that you were meant to be. And this is going to affect all levels of your life. I think when we think of calling and life purpose, we think of something very like big and lofty, like the big impact I'm making and what I'm doing out there in the world. And I think your soul is suggesting to even think of the smaller scale things as part of your calling. So maybe your calling is to become, why am I thinking of like wildlife conservation? Let's go for that and give talks across the world of the importance of saving the environment and saving wildlife, or maybe having a wildlife rehabilitation center and having branches all over the world to save the local wildlife, and raising awareness and organizing cleanups and organizing protests to protect the natural habitat. Like, these are all very big things that leaves a very big impact on the world. So yes, that is your calling, but to zoom in to the even smaller things that will make that possible, I think your soul is encouraging you to also think about those things as your calling. So what do I need to do to make this possible? Down to like the everyday habits. Okay, I need to start waking up at this time, and I need to start fueling my body in this way so that I can be energized and so that I can have a focused mind. And I need to start putting out doing this many phone calls every day, or posting these things on social media every day. Like, going down to those little everyday things that can seem mundane, that can just seem like mundane tasks. Think of that also as your calling, because in order to do the very big things, you have to do very small things that then add up. So literally tell yourself, like, if you determine that, okay, I need to wake up at 6 a.m. and make breakfast as part of my healthy habits, then you need to think of like waking up at 6 a.m. is my calling. Making a healthy breakfast is my calling, because it is the same way that this pinky nail is my body. It's just a small part of it, but it does make up the whole entity that is my body. Those little tiny habits and those little menial tasks that you do in your day-to-day are your calling, because when you add them up, they make your big, out there in the world, larger purpose calling. I really hope that makes sense. And I just saw 1919 on the camera timer as I was talking about this, which is the number of the sun. And I think there's also advice from your higher self to do what you can to find passion and excitement and joy in all of the little things that you do. Maybe it's like listening to your favorite music and dancing while you clean the house. Like, find ways to make those menial things more fun and exciting. And when you're doing them, like, affirm to yourself, this is contributing to my calling. This is a part of my calling. This is going to add up so that I can do those big things that I want to do. Like, fall in love with the details, fall in love with the little things that you're doing, because they really do accumulate. I think that's what this 6th house is wanting to talk about. And also the fact that we have the fate and work. I do think that most people who chose this group, there is like a very specific profession that your soul wanted to have in this lifetime. So to clarify the Hound card, we have alienness, non-humanoid. Wow. So this card talking about loyalty and promises, I think there's also a piece of advice or a strong encouragement, I should say, to be loyal to your weirdness. We just finished talking about your soul having a specific profession that they want to carry out. And I think that whatever makes you weird, so to speak, or whatever makes you different from others, that trait you actually have to help you carry out your destined profession. So I don't know, if we go back to that animal conservation example, maybe you have always been weirdly obsessed with fish. Maybe you got teased in school because you were the fish kid, or maybe you couldn't pay attention in class because you were daydreaming about fish and you felt very weird for this, like weird interests that you have, or like weird traits that you have. Maybe you're not like super good at socializing, but you are insanely good at math, and then your destined profession is one where you're not really out mingling, but you are behind the scenes, like, I know nothing about math, but figuring out formulas, or you are programming something. Like, I guess don't fight against how you naturally are, because I think in order to carry out your destined profession, you are very much working with the traits that you already have. And if there's anything about you that you feel or have felt is weird, especially if people around you kind of remark about it, and I mean like call you weird for it directly or indirectly, I feel like that weirdness is actually within you to serve you in this profession. Like it's literally there because of your destiny. And I'm just looking at this weird amorphous thing. Like, some of you guys have maybe felt throughout your life that you don't really have it together, but I feel like you very much do have it together. It's just that you're looking at what someone else is, or like how someone else expects you to be, and you don't look like that. You have yourself together, your unique self. You have not put yourself together as someone that you're not. But if you think that you need to be someone that you're not, you are going to feel like a failure. You are going to feel like a mess. It's like the standard you have for the person you need to become, it's a bit like, why? That's not you. You're already doing an amazing job of being you. You already have it together as you. The same way we said 32 could be an important age, 27 could be as well, or maybe between the ages of 27 and 32, if of course you are in those ages or about to be. But if you're past those ages, it could be that the next 5 years in your career is going to be very important. We also have 23. So yeah, the next 4 or 5 years is significant. And we have now is the time to ride the wave. Very interesting that we have this card about you being an orator, a communicator, having psychic abilities, and now riding a wave. This is giving me the vibes of channeling. So whatever it is that you're doing in your career, you are literally channeling. So if you're a tarot reader, you're channeling your messages. If you are a programmer, you are channeling the code. Like it's just coming through you. If you are a motivational speaker, you are channeling your speeches. Whatever it is that you're doing. If you're a construction worker, you are channeling the buildings. Like you see them with your third eye, and they come to you through a divine source. You are birthing something from a higher realm into this earth with whatever you are doing. And this is especially the case if you wait for the wave of inspiration to come. I think there's also a piece of advice, I guess, to not force yourself to create or force yourself to produce just for the sake of producing. Because it's when you wait for this wave, when you wait for this inspiration, that you will actually be creating something divine. In my case, like I can't and I won't like force myself to film a reading if I'm really, really not feeling it. And I mean, actually, I was gonna say like, I bet if I did that, but no, I've literally tried to do that before. There's been a couple times where like, I really don't feel like filming, but I'm like, oh, let's just do it anyway. But then I sit down and I'm like talking for a few minutes and I'm just like, no, like this isn't it. And then I just like stop. I think there's something here about waiting for that wave to come, waiting for that inspiration to come. And that's when you will really channel. There's definitely times where maybe we don't feel like doing something, but once we get started, that wave comes. But if you get started on something and the wave is just not coming, like don't force yourself to paddle all the way to shore with your arms just because a wave is not coming. You know? It's one thing to be like, okay, let's start paddling and see if a wave comes. But if it doesn't come, then don't overexert yourself for nothing. By the way, Mercury's in retrograde while I'm filming this, so I really hope all of this is making sense. But waiting for the inspiration is also a big part of the advice from your higher self. And actually, this card says flow, and it says now is the time to ride the current, or now is the time to ride the wave. And even in your fate card, page 32, even in your fate card, it said that help is coming soon. Some unexpected help is due to come your way. This guidance may come from an unexpected source, so look out for signs that will guide you in the right direction. So yeah, this wave is coming very soon for you, this assistance to help you keep going along your path. But I think most of you guys who chose this group, you already are on the right path, and it's just about believing in yourself, and while simultaneously allowing yourself to not always know what you're doing, allowing yourself to ask for help. But yeah, it looks like you're moving into a position with high authority, with high responsibility, with a lot of people watching or listening to what you have to say. And leaving behind some kind of long-term impact or legacy, like you're getting ready to do that. So we are going to get into the tarot now and see the chronological events that are coming up next in your career. Okay, let's give her one more shuffle. What is coming next in group number one's career? We have the Two of Swords. The Four of Swords. The King of Wands. And the Princess of Swords. And then at the bottom of the deck, we have the Fool. And I also just saw 2929 on the camera timer. Very interesting that we have the Fool at the bottom of the deck, because we had that message about unexpected help coming your way. The Fool is ruled by the planet of Uranus, which is, it does have this kind of unpredictable and unexpected energy. And this card can talk about new beginnings and unexpected opportunities. So I definitely think that this is what we're seeing here coming your way is, yes, unexpected help, but it's going to lead to a new beginning for you. It's going to lead to a new opportunity for you. I'm hearing like someone is showing you the way out, or someone is showing you the solution to your problem. Someone is coming in to help you with something that had been weighing you down. Someone is helping you have the opportunity to start fresh, to redefine yourself. Someone is coming in to free you from a situation where you feel stifled, where you feel there's no way out, where you feel like things can't be fixed. We're offering you a new chance or a new clean slate. What's coming next for you is this unexpected help or this unexpected opportunity. And what's kind of interesting, we don't see it in this card, but a lot of the times, you guys might know the Fool has a dog. The Fool is usually like on the edge of a cliff and there's a dog, and we have this dog here with loyalty. So I feel like even this encounter that you're about to have with whoever is helping you, or like, it's like they're coming to swoop you up or coming to bring you to a new place. This encounter is also fated. This interaction that is happening, it's like a soul who is loyal to you. Maybe you have helped this person in the past, or maybe you've helped them in a past life and they're coming in to help you now. But there is a feeling of help is on the way for you in your career. So if you feel stuck in any way, stuck as in I'm not making progress, or stuck as in I don't have the options or opportunities that I want to have, or stuck like nothing is coming my way, or I'm in this situation and I can't fix it, or I can't change it, all of that is going to be changing unexpectedly. So over here we have the Two of Swords, and very often I would read this as indecision, stuck between two different paths. It's interesting that this person is looking towards one sword rather than the other. But the feeling that I'm actually getting for this is that this person may be picking one option, but it doesn't really feel like either of them are what you truly want. It's like you're faced with a decision that you have to make between A or B, but you actually wanted C. I actually wanted C, but that's not an option right now. So I have to choose between A or B. And I guess I'm gonna go with A, not because I really want it, but just because it's like the lesser of two evils, you know? Because like, if it must be between A or B, I'd rather A, but really I want something completely different. So you might be faced with something like this right now, where it's like you have to pick, but you're not really happy anyway. However, we have the Four of Swords here, which is about a period of stillness, a period of inaction. And then we have the King of Wands, which to me is like a very free-spirited, independent, I'm doing what I want kind of energy. I think that for many of you guys, either the solution is to just not pick, to just not pick and wait it out, or to just pick one for now, but know that help is coming. You may temporarily take an offer or temporarily put yourself in a situation that you don't really want just because it seems like you don't really have a choice. But Spirit wants to let you know that you will not be stuck there. If you must choose something because it's time sensitive and it's just what's available to you right now, like taking a job offer, for example, don't be afraid to do that, because help will come. It will just be a placeholder. It will just be temporary. And what you truly want is going to come your way. Now, for those of you who can say, like, I'm just not going to choose. I'm just not going to choose A or B, and I'm just going to wait. I would do that. If you can afford to not make the decision. Like, for example, if you're okay with money, if you're okay with your living situation and you don't have to make this decision right away, I would say don't choose. Don't get caught up in the idea that, oh, well, I'm not going to get what I really want, or nothing better is going to come for me, so I'll just choose one of these for now, because I do see that what you truly want is going to come. So not choosing right now would probably be the best thing. However, if you have to, like I said, for time constraints, for financial restraints, because of your living situation, if you have to pick, then you're safe to go for the lesser of two evils right now, and know that this choice is only going to be temporary, because what you truly wanted in the end will come your way, and you will, whatever it is that you got yourself into, you will be able to get out of it in some way. Even if it doesn't seem that way right now, you will be able to get out of this situation. It might be a little bit of a hassle, but it will be worth it. You will be able to get out of it. Just wait. I don't really feel like in that sense action is required on your part, because it seems like something or someone from the outside is coming in to help you, is coming in to bring this unexpected help or this unexpected opportunity. And with this Four of Swords, and especially with this like wave card, I just saw 3636, by the way, there's a feeling of don't waste your energy and don't waste your effort. Like if nothing seems to be moving, if there's no current, don't waste your energy by starting to swim. You'll feel when there's a current moving, you know, like if you're standing in the water and there's a current, you can feel that. And that's when you should start swimming, because the current will take you there. So if nothing really seems to be going for you right now, there's a feeling of just embracing that stillness, because there's a feeling of like any effort you would put to try to get the current moving right now, it would be kind of like wasted energy, perhaps going against divine timing. Or at the very least, that if you just would wait a little bit longer, there could be an easier way. So it's not necessarily that you can't bring the outcome you want by taking action, just that if you wait a bit longer, there would be a much easier way that takes less effort and is less draining. Just an example of this would be like, let's say you took a job that you didn't really want, but you just needed to get a job right now for various reasons. It takes a lot of effort to be actively looking for a job while you are already working one, like sending out all of the applications and doing back and forth on the phone or by email or going to all of these interviews. Like, it takes a lot of freaking effort. So it's not saying that you can't do that if you feel called to do that, but just that you may not need to. Like, just focus on getting through this job that you have taken, and help will be coming from the outside. Save your energy. That's the kind of message that's coming through. And then with the King of Wands here, I definitely feel this is you guys moving into a place where you feel more free, You feel like you can really call the shots. You feel like you can really be creative. I feel like this is a group where in your career, being creative is super, super important. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're an artist, but just that you are producing original ideas. You are producing original products. You're making original work. You're using your imagination. You're using your intellect. Anything and everything can be creative, but it's like you have to be outputting something original that is coming from you, I think, in order to be truly fulfilled in your career. Not just like following the list of tasks and like a robot could do it or anyone else could do it. I think your soul is craving that feeling of, you would know that I'm the one who did this work because it has my essence in it. It has my signature in it. It's my original idea. That's what your soul needs. I think your soul with the King of Wands also craves some kind of flexibility. I see this a lot with the King of Wands. So flexibility in your working hours, like when you work, how long you work, where you work, having that kind of, I guess, autonomy or agency, whether you are your own boss or your boss just allows you to be super flexible. I think that kind of freedom and flexibility is something that you really, really need with this King of Wands here. And with this help that is coming your way, maybe that's why it's coming through as like you're being freed. You're being taken out of a situation where you feel like there's no way out. There's a feeling of you going from a situation in your career where you felt very stifled, like you couldn't express yourself, you couldn't be creative, you couldn't decide anything for yourself. Like, I just have to show up at this time and do these things that this person told me to do and then leave. And there was nothing, I guess, like super passionate about it. And I just feel like passion, creativity, and like your own agency is being infused into what you do. With the Princess of Swords, I think this is the page, yeah. And pages also talk about new opportunities coming in, new communications coming in. So for many of you, this is like a career change or a promotion, like we spoke about before. In any case, you're in a different role. You're in a different role. You're doing something different. You're doing something unconventional. Like, either not a lot of people have heard of this job or not a lot of people know someone who does it. I think it's a job that people are naturally quite curious about or interested in. And like, they would ask you a lot of questions about it if you told them this is what you do. You could also be in a job that is kind of modern. With the Page of Swords, I often see like a job that didn't really exist like a few decades ago, or that wasn't really popular a few decades ago, or that a lot of young people are working in. People who are younger than you, or people who are youthful, people who are more, I guess, progressive or innovative in nature. You could be doing something, related to communications, media, or something that requires a lot of intellect, a lot of intellectual prowess, or a lot of academic achievement. But yeah, the page indicates you're doing something new for sure. And it's actually very nice that this is a heart chakra card with like the green border, because it makes me feel like you're doing something that like your heart is really in it. And this is crown chakra. So you're a creative channel. You're doing something that your heart is really in. And whatever it may be, even if it's not like artistic, you are a creative channel in this career. Yeah, and actually, let's take a look at like the chakra borders on here, because I feel like they're quite relevant. In this decision that you might be faced with right now, with this being the sacral chakra, it's like you feel in your gut that something is not right. And your heart is telling you to just wait because something better will come. and that proves to be true. Like your intuition proves to be correct. You're meant to be this King of Wands who is creative, independent, free spirit, who calls the shots. And you're meant to be like this Page of Swords who is curious, innovative, breaking boundaries, using your intellectual prowess. I'm using that word again. So yeah, what I'm seeing coming next for you guys is basically you're being saved from a situation where you felt very stuck and stifled and like, yeah, I have options in front of me, but they're not really what I want. But what you truly want is coming. And what you need to do right now is either just wait, or if you must take action right now, just choose what you dread the least and then just know that what you truly want is coming. So I hope that this reading has been helpful to you guys. Thank you very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, you can find my pick a card readings on Instagram, many of which are timeless. You can find my pick a card videos on Patreon, which are also timeless and just like these ones, except for you get to choose a topic. And thank you once again to my patrons for choosing this topic. And you can also check out my music on my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video that is an original song. And you can also check out my latest release linked down below. And finally, I have a vlog channel, KINO Vlogs, and I have merch at kinotarot.com, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video. And we have that on hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, and tote bags. So all that stuff that I just mentioned is going to be linked down below for you in the description, as well as in the pinned comment of this video. Thank you so much for supporting me and for supporting my channel. It truly means a lot to me, and just thank you so much for being here. Group number one, I'm sending lots of love to you, to your spirit guides, to your whole spiritual team, whoever is helping you in this situation, whether that's an individual or a group. Bless them too. And love to all of your loved ones, both here on Earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi number twos. So if you guys chose the Labradorite, this is going to be your career reading. I wanted to start off by showing you guys the full breakdown of what we're going to be looking at in today's reading. So we're going to start off by seeing what energy you are currently embodying, and then we're also going to see what potential is currently lying within you and how it wants to be used or expressed in your career. And then we are going to see what is next in your career. And this is going to be a chronological series of events that you can expect to unfold. And then I did put this at the very end, the message and advice from your higher self. Although if this reading is anything like group number one, the higher self messages and advice are just kind of going to be popping up everywhere throughout the reading. But we will get messages from your higher self for sure. And then I also wanted to mention for this what's next part, what's coming next in your career, I am not doing this reading with a specific time frame in mind. However, if there is a time frame that you would like to know about, for example, you want to know what's coming next in your career over the next 3 months or over the next year, just be sure to keep that time frame in mind while we are shuffling for this part. So that's everything that's going to be covered in the reading today. And I also want to give a shout out to the community over on Patreon because they came up with this topic today. So without further ado, let's get into it. We are going to start off by seeing what energy you are currently embodying. What is the energy that group number 2 is currently embodying? Ooh, we have the catalyst, radical changes and taking control. Very interesting. And we're gonna read this card from the guidebook. So the catalyst, okay. The catalyst is in the court category of this deck. So you guys are currently in an energy of achievement and responsibility. So if I take that into consideration with the energy of this card, it looks like a lot of you guys are at a place, I'm hearing like, screw this. That may be how some of you guys are feeling, but it's like you're at this place where you are not going to settle in your career anymore, or you're not going to be complacent. And it seems like you are really taking control over the course of your career, and you are ready to take the responsibility that is necessary to bring about the change that you want. It's like you have been stirred into action. So the catalyst is on page 28, in case that is a relevant number. And let's read the passage. Artifacts lay scattered across a table. A diviner might be able to decipher their meaning, but to the catalyst, they are just a frustrating jumble of clutter. Wherever they go, they seem to be the inciter of change, whether they intended to or not. They have toppled empires and ended the reigns of kings, and though something has always grown from the rubble, they're always left wondering, what calamity comes next? Life does not exist in a state of stasis, and meaningful development only comes with change. To resist it is to resist growth. You must become the catalyst that shakes the very foundations of life. You are the hurricane that blows the cobwebs from the corners. You are the bolt of lightning that topples the tower. You may not know what form this change will take, but change has to happen. Through upheaval, chaos, and destruction, you will be able to start anew. This is really interesting for me because I was talking to my dad the other day, and he was saying exactly this. I think in his words, it was like, there's no such thing as stasis. Like, there's no such thing as things just being completely settled and in balance. It's like we're constantly moving through life, just shifting a little bit and always going through some kind of change. And things never really just become still and like everything is settled and everything is figured out. And that might be something that your higher self wants you to keep in mind when it comes to your career. And this is not to scare you and say that like you're never going to feel settled, like you're never going to feel like everything is figured out, but in fact to actually liberate you and to take that pressure off of yourself. It's okay to not know exactly how all of the pieces are going to fall, and it's okay to not feel completely sure about what you're doing. And the idea of having that all figured out is kind of an illusion. And if you put the pressure on yourself that you need to get to that place in life, like you're always going to feel like something is wrong. You're always going to feel like something is missing. And I feel like there's a message in there to embrace the chaos, embrace the uncertainty, embrace the things being up in the air. Because while all of that is going on, your life is happening. So just embrace it and enjoy the little moments. Definitely reading that passage, it seems that there is a big change that is about to happen in your career, or if you are going through a big transition in your career right now, this is a reassuring message that everything is going to be okay. I think something that's really important from that passage to hold on to is that we need change. We need change for meaningful development. And in order for change to happen, we need some kind of chaos and some kind of upheaval. I think the process of change, when you're in that transition, it can be very uncomfortable and very scary. But in the end, you'll always be happy that you went through it. Some of you guys might be in an energy as well where you've been like wishing and praying and manifesting for change to come in your life. And now that that change is actually here and you're going through the motions of it, it's like you're scared. This very thing that you've wanted, to come into your life, now that it's happening and shaking things up, you could be scared. Like you could be getting cold feet in the face of a transition. But I definitely think that rewards and blessings await on the other side of this change. And I think this card is wanting to give you guys the green light to ride those waves of change, to go through it. As chaotic as it might be, you will be happy in the end for these changes. So let's take a couple more to see what potential is lying within you right now. What potential lies within, group number 2 that is wanting to be expressed. A bunch of cards just fell on the floor. Let's try that again. What potential is lying within group number 2? We have the priest with perseverance and faith. And we have the sailor. Wow, new influences and wanderlust. Yeah, change. Change is very big. I think I literally said something about the waves of change. And this is making me think of like adjusting your sails. It's making me think of adaptability. Okay, there is already a part of you deep down that embraces chaos, that embraces destruction, that welcomes it, and that can remain calm and peaceful at your core while all of that is happening around you, because inside of you is like this very powerful anchor of faith that keeps you calm throughout it all. Faith in the divine, faith in yourself to navigate what's going on. This card reminds me of the Tower, like things are hitting the fan to bring in new beginnings for you. And this reminds me of the High Priestess, who is just sitting so calm and peaceful, knowing that whatever's happening right now is meant to be happening, will bring them greater blessings and will bring them closer to their destiny. I don't know if you guys have ever had a moment like this in your life. I certainly have, where on the outside, it looks like everything is falling apart in my life, and my ego seems to be quite scared and disturbed about it. But then like there's this deeper energy. There's this deeper feeling within my soul of like, oh yeah, everything is fine. This is meant to be happening right now. Like I know everything's going to be fine. I know this is happening for the best. And my ego hearing that is like, what the heck? How can you say that? But there's like this unshakable peace when you know that whatever is happening, however chaotic it might appear, is meant to be happening. And I think that energy is deep down within you. You may already feel that a little bit with the changes that are happening around you, but this card is representing a potential that is lying within you. So I think that a lot of you who chose this group, you can tap into that a little bit more. And actually, Labradorite is a really nice stone for that. I don't remember if this is like the textbook meaning of Labradorite or just something that I've felt from it, but it really does give us that strength to go through transitions and to make it out on the other side of chaotic change. And I really do believe there is something deep within your being that feels calm and peaceful even in the midst of all of this, and is even embracing these waves of change. And there's an energy within you that can not only remain calm, but that can adapt to whatever is happening. You have that ability within you that wants to be utilized right now. So let's take a look at... Oh, I'm just all over the place today. It's Mercury's in retrograde while I'm filming this, and I've been like dropping things. I've been stumbling with my words. It definitely hits me hard. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, we're doing our best today. So let's take a look at some clarifying oracle cards. We are going to start with a clarifier for this catalyst card, and I just saw 1122, by the way. We have Moon with emotions, moods, intuition, personal needs. Monday, Cancer, the unconscious, comfort, feelings, family, home, reflecting yin and femininity. So Cancer energy could be significant. You or someone else could have Cancer placements. This could also be indicating that Cancer season is going to be a very important time in your career. So late June to late July. We also have Monday, which is like a very specific timing prediction. Something could be happening in the coming Monday. But it's quite interesting that we have the moon, because the moon is all about fluctuations and cycles. And I do think that it is time for this group to embark on a new journey, to start a new cycle in your career. but an old cycle must close in order for that to happen. I'm also thinking about how the moon is the fastest moving celestial body, like as we see it from Earth. The moon's cycle is the fastest. So you could be noticing that things are changing for you very quickly at this time. I'm also thinking of the cycle of the moon being 28 days, like roughly a month. So the next month could be bringing quite big changes for you surrounding your career. And honestly, I'm getting the feeling that you could be having a lot of mixed emotions during this time, or conflicting emotions. You might have mixed feelings about what you are currently doing for a career, confused about whether you want to keep going on this path or not, or you might have completely contradictory emotions that are coexisting, which makes you kind of confused. You know, like, I love this job, I'm super grateful for it, but also it pisses me off, but also it stresses me out, but also I don't want to go to work sometimes. Like, you have these kind of conflicting emotions within you that could make you feel quite flustered, confused, maybe even guilty. Like, you feel like you should just feel one way about it and be sure about it. You might feel guilty that you're not sure, especially if the path that you're currently on is like one that others wish they could be on, or one that you worked really hard for. Having mixed feelings sometimes like that can bring guilt. You may also find that your feelings towards your current career or your idea about what you want to do in the future is constantly changing. You know, the moon is just constantly fluctuating like that. So one day you might feel super good about the path that you're on. Another day you might be questioning it. And that can be quite tiring. It kind of seems like you're going through an emotionally volatile period and just kind of confused about what you're doing and where you're going. But I think you just need to know that in the midst of all of this, that could very well feel like a mess when you're in the middle of it. Like, even in the catalyst, I want to actually read that again because I feel like it's super relevant for this group. On the catalyst page, it talks about basically just shit being scattered everywhere. And your life might kind of feel like that sometimes. And it says, it might look like just a frustrating jumble of clutter, but a diviner would be able to decipher the meaning. So what might look like a frustrating jumble of clutter is actually intricately designed to get you where you're supposed to be. A diviner, and I think you do have that energy of the diviner within you, that high priestess within you. If you pause and take a look around you, you'll see that everything is unfolding exactly how it should. Even this emotional uncertainty or emotional fluctuations, like at this point in your timeline, I feel like this is an experience that you're meant to be having. Like, it's going to bring some sort of powerful revelation. It's going to be the catalyst to a powerful change in your career. Embrace that conflict, embrace that uncertainty, embrace that discomfort. Please don't sweep it under the rug or ignore it, because it is trying to bring change. I'm thinking of Pluto energy as well, like this uprooting, this upheaval. I feel like many of you guys are being called to something drastically different. And for those of you who have recently made a huge change or made a huge commitment, please don't give up on that just because things seem messy and uncertain right now. Because it's like, from all this mess and from all this rubble, a beautiful garden is going to grow. I have a very distinct taste right now of mint, but not like mint flavor. It's like the flavor of an actual mint leaf, which might be relevant for some of you. Maybe like eating mint or drinking peppermint tea could be soothing for you. Also with this like family, home, reflecting, and femininity, some of you guys might be reevaluating your values as a result of connecting more to your feminine energy. And it doesn't matter your gender, but some of you guys maybe were really leaning more towards your masculine energy, which just the way things are built right now in society, I feel like for what we define as success, it does kind of favor being in your masculine energy. But some of you might be wanting to like sink. The word is sink more into your femininity, or like fall back into your feminine energy, back into a softer energy. Okay, now a clarifier for the priest. Interesting, we have guilt, which we were talking about with these like fluctuating emotions. We have a feeling of guilt, and we also have the Pleiades, which is interesting, and we have a message of the past. We also have 41, which this number makes me think of home. Like 14, 41 makes me think of home, which is a key word that we have here. Some of you guys perhaps, you maybe left your hometown for career pursuits, and that's something that you feel guilty about. Or you want to leave your hometown for career pursuits, but you feel guilty, for example, about like leaving your family behind, or disappointing your family, or disappointing those people where you have your roots. I'm not very good at talking today, but something about like leaving home or establishing yourself somewhere else. You could feel guilty about that as well. That actually might be a recurring theme in your past lives of like uprooting and going somewhere else to establish yourself. And maybe even in past lives that happened on like a planetary scale. If we look at this, this kind of looks like a space traveler. You could have literally left your home planet to pursue something else. And so you could have lingering feelings of guilt that maybe don't really apply in this lifetime, but maybe in a previous lifetime, something bad happened when you left. And so you kind of always have that feeling of like, I can't stray too far from my roots. I can't stray too far from my home. I used to have like an irrational fear, because I go back and forth between Japan and Canada quite a bit. And I would have this irrational fear that like, if I leave one place, what if it's gone? Like, what if it's not there anymore when I come back? Which like doesn't make sense. But there's like a guilt associated with leaving those places behind. I feel like this group, it's that deep down you really want to make a change, you really want to uproot yourself, but the reason you feel conflicted is because of guilt. Like letting someone down, or I feel guilty because I should be grateful for what I'm currently doing, or I feel guilty because I worked so hard for this. And that guilt is kind of messing with your higher intuition. If you were able to resolve these feelings of guilt, I think you could hear the voice of your intuition a lot more clearly. And because we spoke about past lives, like revisiting a past life memory and giving yourself resolution from it, that could also help to absolve feelings of guilt. Because I feel like there was one experience like where you left a place behind and then something bad happened, such that in this lifetime you're kind of afraid of setting sail, or you're afraid of relocating, you're afraid of change. What else do we have? I also want to mention the numbers. 28's coming up again, because the catalyst passage was number 28. So 28, 28 again, and 41. These could be relevant ages for you guys, like where you're reaching a peak or a very pivotal time in your career. Also, the moon is 28 days in the cycle. So 28's like an important number. And this card says beginnings. And it says like your new beginning starts here. Yeah. You're on the brink of a big change in your life. I think this is a moon. I'm interpreting it as a moon. This also looks like a big full moon as well. Full moons would be a great time for this group. I think you have a special relationship with the moon or with a divine feminine deity, maybe even a deity that is related to the moon. But full moons will be a great time to release confusion, to release inner conflict, to release guilt, to release anxiety surrounding your career, but really surrounding anything. You can write it on a piece of paper, and then anything to sort of get rid of it, so to speak. You can burn it, you can rip it up, you can bury it, whatever feels good to you. Like, write down everything that you're concerned about and then just blow it away, send it away. I'm also feeling really called to mention that there are 5 birds here. A group of 5 could be significant to this group. We also do have a group of 2 with the 2 bees and the 2 fish. But you could be working in a group of 5, or you could have a soul family that is a group of 5. And within that group, there's like you and someone else, a couple who have a really, really special bond. Okay, so let's move into the what's next part now. We're going to get into the tarot and see the chronological series of events that you will be experiencing within your career. Okay, what is coming next for group number 2? What is next in their career? We have the 5 of Wands, very interesting because there's a group of 5 on this card. This is also a card that talks about conflict. We have the Sun. Wow. The Ace of Coins, very nice. And the 9 of Swords. And then at the bottom of the deck, we have the 10 of Wands. Okay, group number 2's. Here is the situation with this 10 of Wands. It's funny that like one of the very first messages that came into my mind when we started this reading was like the message of screw it. And then we have the 10 of Wands here. This card gives a feeling of overwork, of carrying a heavy burden that was never really meant to be yours or to be placed on you. And if we keep carrying this burden, it can lead to burnout. In some cases, it can even lead to health issues. But there's something right now that this group is carrying that is just too heavy. For some of you, it could literally be that you are overworked at this current point in your career. Like the workload is just too big or the working hours are too long. This can also indicate a situation where we're just not being, like the energy exchange is not fair, you know? It could be that if you were being paid fairly or if you were getting the recognition that you deserve, then you would be able to handle this workload. But when you're not getting anything back, it feels draining. It's like you're not receiving the pay or the credit or the appreciation that would keep you energized in this exchange. So for some of you, it is that literal sense of being overworked. But I think for others of you, and we kind of get into this 5 of Wands with this interpretation, for others of you, I think you could be overly burdened by taking too many people's opinions into account when really the only one that matters at the end of the day is your own, because this is your career. You are the one who is having to show up and do the work. So if someone else is not doing that work, then I don't want to say their opinion is completely irrelevant, but you have to prioritize your own opinion about what you're doing and your own needs and your own wants. And if you try to make everyone happy, if you try to take everyone's expectations into consideration, you are going to exhaust yourself. And I think this is something that any of us can struggle with, whether you have like people-pleasing tendencies or not. I think this is also something we can struggle with because at this point in, what would you call it? At this point in civilization, in the life of humans, we are connected to literally everyone, you know, virtually through the internet. We are being exposed to so many people's experiences and beliefs and opinions and values and worldviews every day. You know, before the internet, we probably just had to care about the few people who actually surround us in our 3D experience. But now it's like we're bombarded with everyone's idea of how you should live your life and what worldview you should subscribe to and what habits you should have and how you should define success. And there's just this feeling of too much of others' way of seeing things is kind of getting into your head. And there's no way to make all of them make sense together, but it's like you may kind of subconsciously be trying to do that, because this is talking about conflicting ideas or conflicting goals. And it's interesting that we have right after this the sun. This to me talks about a moment of illumination, a moment of understanding. Like the sun is coming to shine light on the answer after this conflict. And on the sun card, we have an indigo border, which means it is related to the third eye. You will have your moment of truth. You will have your moment of realization when you're able to reconnect to your intuition. This sun card is showing that the answer was within you all along of what you were meant to do. And it was when you started listening to either the opinions of people around you or the narratives of society or what other people on the internet were doing with their life and the values that they were professing. It's when all of that went into your ears, I think, that you got confused with this being a throat chakra card. The moment of revelation will come. The sun will come up when you reconnect to your intuition, to this third eye energy. And I think that's why when all of this chaos and uncertainty is happening in your life, there's that part of you deep down that is calm and embracing it. That is like your higher self saying, finally. Finally, because all of this chaos is happening to weed out that which is not in alignment with your own opinion, with your own needs, with your own vision. It's like I'm imagining all of these ideas for what your life should be as like buildings. But your vision is the really, really sturdy building because it's rooted in you. It was built by your higher self. It's your blueprint. And then all the other ideas that come from other people's expectations or societal pressures, they're just like flimsy buildings. They might look the same, but they're actually very flimsy. And the universe is making an earthquake happen, which is scary and uncomfortable. But what the earthquake is going to do is make all of those flimsy buildings fall down. It's like at the end of this earthquake, all that will be left standing is your true core. So whatever turbulence might be happening in your life right now, it is meant to shine a light on what is inauthentic, like desires that you've internalized that are inauthentic, visions for what your life should be that you've internalized that are inauthentic. The chaos that you might be feeling in your life right now is actually like weeding all of those out, because only your truest desires can survive that. Only your truest desire can guide you out of that. And what we have after this is the Ace of Coins, which is a new, like this can literally talk about a new job, a new opportunity to make money. And I love that this person has their hands up. It looks like they're celebrating. It looks like they're welcoming it in. And I'm also noticing all of these red roses. Ever since I got that Secret Language of Light Oracle, which I should really use it again. I haven't used it in a long time. Ever since I got that oracle, and there's this sensitivity card with the red rose, that's just like ingrained in my mind when I see red roses, like delicateness, sensitivity. You are definitely stepping into a career where you don't have to mask your sensitivity or mask your emotional nature. You know, like some careers you could be exhausted, you could be emotionally overwhelmed, and you just have to like hide it and be very stoic and push yourself to the limits. I don't see you in a career like that. I don't see you needing to be in a career like that. And maybe this goes back to embracing your feminine energy. I think you're doing something that is a lot more gentle and comfortable. And that doesn't mean there are no opportunities to go outside your comfort zone, but it will be done in a much more gentle way. It will be done when it's something that you feel like you want to do and when you're ready. It will not be a job that like roughly forces you out of your comfort zone and to do things that you don't want to do things that overwhelm you, to do things that you don't feel ready to do. And I feel kind of sad when I channel this energy, because it's like how you had to mask yourself and your emotions and your sensitivities up until now because you thought like, oh, this is just what you have to do. Like if you want to have a job, if you want to be successful, you just got to be strong like that. And there is room for your delicateness and there is room for your sensitivity in this world. And there is a way for you to create wealth for yourself while not suppressing those sides of you. It's almost like you maybe internalized this idea that being stoic and pushing forward even when you're super uncomfortable and super tired, that's what makes you worthy of wealth, or like that's what you have to do to get wealth in this world. That's the real world. Like that's just how it is. Don't be so sensitive. And this may be a very emotional realization that like you never had to do that. And if anyone pushed that idea on you, like parents or relatives, it's not because it's true, it's because that's what they were unfortunately taught as well. And they're just regurgitating what they were taught. And I feel like you are the one who is having the courage and the radical love for yourself to question that and ultimately reject that. Like, I'm going to continue being my sensitive self. I'm going to continue being my delicate, gentle self, my empathic, compassionate self, my wanderlust, nature-loving self, and also blossom in the material world and also create wealth for myself. I reject the traditional idea of success and the hustle. Maybe you tried that and realized it wasn't for you, and that was something that you had to like grapple with a lot of guilt to say like, this is not for me, this is not what I want. But what we see here is definitely a new beginning in your career. Like the Ace of Coins is literally about a new beginning in your career. We also have this card that says like your new start is here, or like your new beginning starts here. And then we have the Nine of Swords. I do feel like this is a bit of a realistic energy. The Nine of Swords talks about like worries that something is going to go wrong. It talks about intrusive thoughts. And I think it's normal to have those after you've gone through a transition, because there's that part of your brain that is still stuck in the old ways, that is still stuck in the old paradigm. So for an example, let's say you were working a 9 to 5 and that was something that you didn't like, and you decided that you were going to commit to your own creative pursuits and find success there. Even after you take that leap, it's like you could still have some intrusive thoughts of like, this is a mistake, I should just go back to the 9 to 5, like I'm being delusional. Even though we just broke that way of viewing the world, even though we just broke through those internalized definitions of success, they can still kind of linger, you know? Like, yeah, like me, for example, I've done a lot of work to heal anxiety and anxious thoughts, but I still have anxious thoughts sometimes. Like those old patterns can just come back, but you don't need to give any power to them. And I think that this is saying, even after you make the concrete change in your life, you commit to this new start in your career, you might still have those thoughts every now and then that like, this is the wrong choice and things are gonna go wrong. And man, that sucks. Like, inner conflict is just always going to be there, and mixed feelings are always going to be there no matter what. Like going back to this moon, and even going back to the catalyst passage of like, there's never really just like a stasis, you know? Things are always shifting, things are always oscillating. And you may feel like 90% of the time, like I'm happy with my choice, this is what I'm gonna do. And then maybe you have a bad day and those intrusive thoughts come back. But I think this is here to say that you don't have to give power to them. And what is really important and really freaking impressive at the end of the day is that you have committed to your happiness. You have committed to making a better life for yourself. And these are not going to stop you. Like you're going to keep going even when you have bad days, even when you have anxious thoughts. I think, you know, everyone should come up with their definition for success. But I think one way that I would define it is not that you never doubt yourself, not that you're always confident, but that you keep going even when your confidence is a bit shaky. You keep going even when those feelings of self-doubt creep in, even when you are scared. And I think I even mentioned this in a previous reading and then totally forgot about it until someone mentioned it in a comment again. And I don't think this is my original idea. I think a lot of people have said this to some effect, but true bravery is not being afraid of nothing. It's moving forward even when you're scared. If you weren't afraid of anything and you went for it, like, it's not really the definition of bravery, is it? Because for you, you're just like, oh, I'm just... Like, if you're not afraid of spiders and you're holding a spider, that's not really brave. You just happen to not be afraid of it. But if you're scared shitless of spiders and you're holding one, then you're really freaking brave. So anyway, I just want to leave that with you guys, that I don't think success is that you're always confident and you never doubt yourself and you're always sure of your choices. I think it's that your emotions fluctuate. You may have these intrusive or negative thoughts sometimes, but you stay on your course because you're anchored by that divine faith. Yeah, there is definitely change being called for this group or already happening. And I know that that can be super scary, but I just want you guys to know that anything happening right now, no matter how uncomfortable it might be, is all for your greatest happiness in the end. And the universe is in the process of removing influences from your life that have clouded your judgment and maybe have led you to choose things for not the best reasons. And the universe is helping you to redirect at this time. And you'll redirect by reconnecting to the deep knowing that you had all along, to your own vision, of what your life should be, to your own idea of happiness and success. You're just reconnecting to that. It's not like you're finding something new. You're just reconnecting to that wisdom that was always there. So these are all the messages I have for you, group number 2. So I'm going to end your reading here. Thank you very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself. Stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you like to find me elsewhere, you can check out my pick a card readings on Instagram, many of which are timeless. You can check out my pick a card videos on Patreon, which are just like these and also timeless, except for you get to choose the topic. And once again, thank you so much to my patrons for selecting this topic. You can also check out my music on my music channel, including the intro song of this video that is an original song. You can also check out my latest release linked down below. And finally, I have a vlog channel, KINO Vlogs, and I have merch at kinotarot.com, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video, and we have that on hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, and tote bags. So all of that stuff that I just mentioned is going to be linked down below in the description, as well as in the pinned comment of this video. Thank you so much for supporting me and for supporting my channel. It truly means a lot to me. And thank you so much for being here. Group number 2s, I am sending so much love to you, to your higher self, your spirit guides, your whole spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, number 3s. So if you guys chose the titanium or a quartz, this is going to be your career reading. So I want to start off by just showing you guys the list of everything that's going to be covered today. We're going to start the reading off by seeing what energy you are currently embodying in your career. And then we're also going to see what potential is lying within you that wants to be expressed and how it wants to be expressed or used in your career. And then we are going to see what is coming next for you. So a series of events in chronological order that you can expect to be unfolding in your career. And then at the end, we have a message and advice from your higher self. But in the reading so far, this part has kind of just been popping up throughout the whole reading, but we're definitely going to be getting higher self messages and advice. I also wanted to mention that I don't have a specific time frame in mind for this reading. So for this what's next part, if there is a specific time frame that you guys want to know about, like what's going to happen in your career in the next 3 months or in the next year, for example, just be sure to keep that time frame in mind while I'm shuffling the cards. And that's it. That's everything that's going to be in the reading today. I also want to give a shout out to the community over on Patreon for coming up with this topic. And with all that being said, let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to see is the energy that you are currently embodying. What energy is group number 3 currently embodying in their career? Okay, so we have the miser, stubbornness and inflexibility. And for this card, we are going to read a passage from the guidebook. So let's see where the miser is. The miser is, okay, in the category the crowd, which has to do with community and hard work. And the miser is on page 98, in case that is a relevant number for some of you. But let's see what this passage has to say. Oh, it's on page 98 and 99. A store stands open for business, yet no customers wait inside. A figure sits, counting their coins, ignoring anyone who approaches them. They should be celebrating their success, but it is easier to hide behind a wall and block out anyone who tries to help. The miser is incapable of realizing they are the cause of their own problems. They justify their unhappiness by blaming others for their own faults. Unwilling to work with others for fear of being outshone, their actions are irrational and indicative of a lack of belief in themselves. Deep inside, there is a miser in all of us. Rather than let yourself become consumed with selfishness and the inability to admit your mistakes, exercise some empathy and put yourself in someone else's shoes. That difficult situation has two sides to it. Look at it from the other side and you'll find a happy compromise to be made. So this is interesting because even before this card came out, I did want to mention that when I was shuffling the deck for this group, it took quite a bit more time for the card to come out. And it was also kind of hard to hold the deck neatly in my hand. It just felt kind of messy. And generally when the deck behaves like that, there is a feeling of some kind of blockage or resistance, or things are just not flowing very smoothly. So for those of you who chose this group, you could very well be at a place where you are dissatisfied with the current situation of your career, frustrated with your progress or lack thereof, just not really happy with the way things are going. And it seems like this card is trying to encourage you to look at the ways in which you might be playing a role in perpetuating this energy, rather than being so quick to point the finger somewhere else, like to someone else or something else inside of you. And that's not to say that your situation is completely separate from external circumstances. There could very well be other reasons other than you why you find yourself where you are. But I think that this card is trying to suggest that perhaps you have a bit more power in this situation than you believe. There is more that you can do right now to make yourself more comfortable where you are or to improve your situation. With that being said, if you have gone through, for example, repeated rejections or repeated failures, if you have been held back or you do have disadvantages in some way, you know, it's very easy for someone on the outside to say like, oh, just get up and try again. Like that takes a lot of physical and mental energy. And I can understand if this group is just tired, but like just tired of it all. But there's a feeling that perhaps your own inaction or your own mindset could be exacerbating the situation. I think if we've gone through rejection or disappointment or failure or multiple, it is very important to sit in that emotion and to process it, but it is not helpful to ourselves or to anyone if we just dwell in that emotion. And if, you know, we allow it to make us step back, you know, resign or completely give up. I feel like this group needs some motivation to keep going. And I think this group needs to be reminded that there is more in your hands to turn your situation around than you might think. With this stubbornness and inflexibility, it could be talking about like the willingness to take initiative by yourself, but it could also be that the universe has been trying to redirect you, or maybe people around you have been trying to give you feedback, and maybe we're not being very receptive to that. But there's just this feeling overall that if you do look around you, there will be help, or there will be guidance, or there will be some way that you can carry on, or that you can change your situation into one that is more favorable. It just seems like there's a little bit of a negative attitude that is happening right now. And I want to be very clear that this is not a judgment. Like everybody, even like this guidebook says, everybody has this miser within them. And sometimes life can really bring the miser out of us, but it's for your own sake. It's for yourself that you get back up from this energy. So we are going to take a couple more from the same deck, and these cards are going to represent the potential that is lying within you that wants to be used or expressed at this time. What potential lies within group number 3 that wants to be expressed? We have the captain with taking command and teamwork, which is very interesting because the category The category of this card was the crowd, and it was community and hard work. So perhaps accepting help or accepting collaboration could be something that helps you guys out. And let's get one more. It could also be, it's like help is available to you if you actively seek it. It's kind of reminding me of, this is something that I struggled with a lot in my own personal relationships, where if my needs weren't being met in a relationship, instead of saying what my needs are or trying to get help from my partner to meet my needs, I would just like sit there and be in a mood and just like hope that they would figure it out. It's maybe not the exact same thing going on here, but it feels like this group could really benefit from help, like assistance, teamwork, collaboration. But I wonder if some of you are like not asking for this help, or if you're just like waiting for it to come around. This could also be a situation where, and this is also something I can relate to, feeling like if I'm doing good work, success will just come naturally. And so it's like you're waiting around for something to come to you. Maybe there's a part of your ego that just like wants things to happen organically. Or again, like the same way I would tell myself, like I'm calling myself out a bit because this is like a toxic way of thinking, but I'm like, if this person really cares about me, if this person really loves me, they'll just figure out what I need. Like they would just know if they cared enough to do it. When like, no, sometimes you have to be the one to go out there and initiate and say, this is what I need. And so maybe there's a mindset like that. For example, if you are a shopkeeper, like in the guidebook, and you're like, well, if I really have a good shop, like the customers are just gonna come. And it's like, even if you have a good shop, you have to still go out there and promote your stuff. Like people aren't just gonna randomly know to come to your shop. And you may also be unfairly comparing yourself to others who look like they were an effortless success or look like they were an overnight success, but that is actually not the case. They probably did a lot that one would not consider to be organic, with finger quotes I felt like using, that led to their success. And maybe there's a little bit of pride or stubbornness when it comes to asking for help or teaming up or asking to be noticed or putting yourself out there more. Yeah, it feels like there's a part of you that wants success to just come. And I want to be very clear, it's not because you're lazy or something like that, but I think it's maybe this idea that like, if I'm really good and if I'm really worthy, then the success will just happen. And it's like, sometimes we have to go out with a megaphone and be like, give me our business, give me attention. You know, we got to fight for ourselves like that. Okay, one more for my group number 3s, or 2 more. We have the Guide and the Herald with inheritance and correction, and we have small regrets and longing. Very interesting. It seems like you are correcting a mindset or correcting a pattern that you have inherited, perhaps from family, that has to do with regrets and longing, that has to do with what ifs. This could also be a past life pattern. It's either like something that's in your lineage, in your family, or a pattern that has continued throughout your incarnations. But it seems like there's a history of wanting to become successful in a certain profession, and then maybe just giving up too soon, or not really giving it the push that it deserved, and then just resigning to a different profession and a different life. But then always at the back of your mind, wondering what could have happened if I just committed for a bit longer? What could have happened if I just gave it that bit of extra effort? Like, you might have family members who they appear to be really successful in their career, but then when you talk to them, they're like, I really actually wanted to do this thing, but you know, this was just more comfortable. This just gave me more security. And so I just like went with this. There's a feeling of having that maybe regret, but maybe also just that feeling of what if? Like, what if I had just gone for it? What if I had just given it 110%? And again, this is all for your sake. Like, you deserve to see what happens when you give something your 1,000,000%, and you deserve to see what it looks like when you get to reap the fruits of your labor. Like, this is not to prove yourself to anyone else and say like, look at how hardworking I am and look at how responsible I am. Like, this is all for you. You deserve to see the fruition of your dreams so that you don't have that what if. There's like a go-getter in you that wants to come out, or like a fierce, resilient fighter in you that wants to come out. And it's okay to take a break, because this group might be tired, and I feel that. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to rest. It's okay to change your approach, but please don't quit on yourself. Please don't give up on yourself. Let's get some clarifiers for these cards. So first we're going to clarify the Miser with stubbornness and inflexibility, and we have Leo with the showstopper. Enthusiastic, generous, magnetic, pretentious, show-off, bossy, extroverted, proud, headstrong, loyal, seeks approval, loving, and ruler of the 5th house. Yeah, it seems like there may be, because we have like headstrong, we have stubborn, we have proud. There may be an issue with like, it's either we're too proud to accept help, or there may even be, okay, there's a couple different things. There may be a pride associated with like, oh, I can do this all myself, or I want this to be all my idea. I want this to be my own idea. I want this to be my own doing. Yeah, it's like pride could be getting in the way of success. Also, something that I see with Leo sometimes is like taking things personally could be impacting our success. So, for example, and this is a very dramatic example, I'm just going to say that right away. Let's say you are like a chef, and then you have a restaurant and someone eats your food and they're like, it was good, I just think it was too salty. And then if someone takes that really personally, and you know, Leo energy can be a bit dramatic as well, that person might say like, oh my gosh, this person is saying I'm a terrible chef, like, and then you either reject that person and you're like, screw you, you don't know what you're talking about, and you don't listen to their advice that could be really helpful. Or it could go the other way, where you just feel defeated and you just feel like you want to give up. You know, if I took all of the negative comments I get to heart, I might be like, I don't deserve to be a tarot reader, and quit my whole channel. And in the same way, if I say screw you to all the negative comments I get and don't look for that bit of truth in them, I won't be able to improve. So this Leo energy can kind of go both ways, but it seems like there's a pride, or there's a taking things personally that could be kind of getting in the way here, especially if you are, I think when you're doing something that you love, it's easy to get like that, because when we love something, it's like our baby. It's like an extension of ourself, especially our creations, you know? Like, I don't give a crap about cleaning. So if I was a house cleaner and someone said I did a bad job cleaning, I'd be like, yeah, fair. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, it wouldn't hurt me. But if cleaning was my passion and someone said that, then I start to question myself and like question my worthiness, and maybe even question my whole identity. And like, if you've been identifying too strongly with what you do, or like taking yourself very seriously in it, or identifying a lot with the pride you get out of it, that could be something that is kind of getting in the way. Because I think we need, with this Leo energy here, we might need like a healthy emotional detachment. And it comes back to like accepting help and accepting collaboration. Let's look at the clarifier for this Captain card. We have Atlantean era with Earth and the past. This is actually part of your soul's blueprint, is to enter some kind of partnership or find success through a collaboration with someone else. So this could be a past life connection that you always kind of partner up with this person. It could also be a situation where in a previous life, you helped someone else get out of this miser energy and now they're helping you get out of it. And then to clarify the guide and the herald, we have peace. And it basically says to cultivate inner peace. Group 3, it may be hard to keep going on this path, but it will be even harder to give up. Like, sometimes quitting might feel like the easy way out, but it will actually be harder, because I feel like there will always be this nagging feeling of what if I had gone through with it. And this might seem to be the harder way, and I do think it could be quite challenging, but it is what will bring you peace in the long run, because you know deep down that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. There could also be advice of, because this is about inner peace, cultivating peace within yourself so that you're not as affected by external influences like rejections, disappointments, perceived failures, adversity, criticism, judgment, whatever it might be. I mean, those things are always going to affect us because we're not robots, but I can say the more inner peace you cultivate, the less they shake you. Like, we'll go from this kind of roller coaster to this. Yeah, we need to find inner peace. We need to find emotional detachment. There is some kind of pride that we need to get over. Definitely keep doing what you're doing. Definitely go for it with all that you have. Like, keep honoring your heart's desires. And there's help coming, or there's a partnership coming, there's a collaboration coming as well. So, I also want to mention 18 and 48. These could be important numbers. We also had 98 and 99 in the guidebook. And then, of course, a Leo person could be significant. I'm also thinking of a Pisces person because the number 18 is making me think of the moon. And even 48 reduces to 12, which is the Hanged Man. Both the moon and the Hanged Man are related to Pisces. So yeah, Leo and Pisces could be important signs. Also, the next 6 months or so could be an important time. But let's get into the tarot now and see what is coming next in your career. What is next for group number 3 in their career? We have the Two of Swords. Very interestingly, this is also the first tarot card that came out for group number 1. I don't know if you guys were drawn to group number 1, but if you were, this might be a sign to check it out, or maybe you're coming from group number 1. We also have the King of Swords. We have the Hermit. That's a lot. And we have the Queen of Wands, very interesting. And then at the bottom of the deck, we have the Ten of Swords. Okay, so It's interesting that we have a king and a queen, because to me, like, king and queen makes a set. They can sometimes represent like a masculine aspect of you and a feminine aspect of you, but because we had so many messages of partnership and collaboration, I think that this is representing a partnership that is happening for you in your career. This is air energy and fire energy. So air and fire signs could be relevant, but the energies of air and fire are compatible with each other. So you are finding a compatible match to work with, or to work for, or to work for you. Whatever your situation might be, this looks like a business partnership that is forming. And I think actually you're coming together as equals, because we have the captain taking command, teamwork. It doesn't seem like anyone is above or below. It feels like we're both taking charge. We're both working together. So yeah, this is like a duo, a collaboration, a business partnership that is forming between you and someone else. This person could be like the opposite gender of you, or like a different gender of you, but I think that your personalities are compatible, and like your vision is very compatible. And you have a good balance of passion and spontaneity, as well as like logic and analysis and planning. It could be that one of you is more of the passionate creative type, one of you is more of the logical analytical type. So when you come together, you just like balance each other out nicely. Let's talk about this Two of Swords. I'm reading it similarly, I think, to group number 1, where we're feeling a bit of indecision about something. And I think for this group, this would definitely be like a should I stay or should I go? Should I keep trying to manifest what I'm trying to manifest, or should I just give up? But what's interesting about it in this deck is that this card is supposed to represent like, oh, I'm stuck between this way or that way. But you can see that this person is very clearly looking towards one side. Like, even though they might be saying that they're indecisive, deep down there is one path that they really do want to choose. And I think for you guys, deep down, you do want to keep going, and you do want to see the fruition of your manifestation. It's just that sometimes you get quite tired and you get quite drained with this Ten of Swords. But I think what's so beautiful about this card is like the sun rising on the horizon. This person feels like they're dead, feels like they're defeated, feels like there's no hope for them anymore. You guys might literally be on the brink of giving up on something, and that's the very moment that it comes through for you. Like, just when you thought you were dead and defeated, the sun was rising. The sun is rising on the horizon. A new beginning is coming. This is also Gemini energy. So Gemini season could be significant to this group, which is late May to late June, which if you're watching this when it's up, that will actually be very, very soon. Yeah. Gemini season, but also, yeah, the next 6 months are important for this group. Anyway, I think deep down you really do want to keep going. And it's very interesting that we have the King of Swords after this. This is that emotional detachment that we were talking about. But it also talks about the King of Swords makes decisions logically, makes decisions with his head. And this is very interesting because sometimes we see the opposite, where it's like, deep down in my heart, I want to pursue this dream, but my logical mind tells me that it doesn't make sense. Whereas I feel like for this group, even logically, it makes sense for you to keep going. I think even in your head, it makes sense for you to keep going. What might stop you from wanting to keep going sometimes, I think, is actually emotions. And not emotions at the core of your heart, but rather reactive emotions. Like negative emotions that we feel in the moment when something isn't going our way, or when we are tired. I think for this group, like fatigue could be clouding your judgment quite a bit, or like overstimulation of your mind could be tiring you out and sort of clouding your judgment. But there's a feeling if you look at your situation objectively, like I think many people would say that you should keep going. I think it's just sometimes you're like, I'm sick of this, I'm tired of this, I can't take another failure, or I can't take another rejection. Like these kind of reactive emotions might be making you feel like you shouldn't keep going. And it's actually when you detach and look at the situation objectively, you'll realize that there is still hope. You'll realize that, no, deep down, I want to keep moving forward. And you have both a king and a queen here. So you really are meant to come out on top in this situation. You really are meant to succeed. And I know that there have been challenges your way when it comes to this path, but you are meant to, and you will overcome these challenges. There could be, and I think there's something too about like changing from a mind working against you to a mind working for you. And I know how hard it can be when your mind is working against you. Sometimes it can feel like your mind is your enemy and is messing things up for you. But there's a transformation happening here where we're learning how to harness the power of our mind and make it our greatest weapon, so to speak, or make it our greatest tool. I feel like mindset is a really, really big thing for this group. It's a really, really important thing. And the analytical side of you will be your friend during this process. Analyzing where these negative emotions are coming from, analyzing whether they are true or not, just taking a very like detached analytical approach to your emotional experience could bring some very big revelations for you, because I think there's a feeling of like overthinking or expecting the worst or feeling like everything is going wrong, and I do this all the time. I'll be anxious, like my life is falling apart. But then if I actually question myself and look at all the elements of my life and why do I feel this way, I'm like, everything's fine. It's okay. Sometimes we need that analytical, questioning, detached part of us to step in and remind us that everything is okay. Everything is not as bad as our anxiety paints it to be. And having anxiety can make everything a million times more exhausting. So I completely understand you guys if you're in this energy, but it will be a shame to let this energy win. And as someone who has overcome a significant amount of my anxiety, it's still there, of course, a little bit, but as someone who's overcome it significantly, you can. Like, I can say that you can. It is possible. Like, anxiety is not something that you are or something that you have, like you're holding it. It's just something passing through. And you can just let it pass through. You can overcome it. You can get better. I think this is a group that is just dealing with mental struggles that are getting in the way. And that's really difficult. But mindset is the biggest thing. Being able to shift your mindset, being able to shift your mental state, it will do wonders. And I promise you that you can. Definitely take it one day at a time, take it slowly, but it is very possible. I think the advice for this group is committing to a journey of like cultivating a healthier mindset or better mental health. We have the Hermit here, which is a lot about self-discovery, going within, soul searching. This is Virgo energy, which is very analytical as well. Discovering the inner workings of your mind and like why you react to certain things the way you do could be super helpful, whether that's through reading books, just meditating and reflecting by yourself, talking to someone else about it. I feel like talking is a really good way to have epiphanies about yourself and uncover things about yourself. Something about speaking it out loud. At least for me, I think everyone's different, but putting things into language stops them from being this unconscious, amorphous, elusive thing. It helps you put a name to what you're experiencing, and just making your struggles known, or making those shadows lurking in your mind known. Recognizing what they are, I think, is a big part of healing them and releasing them. But yeah, there's something that is affecting your confidence with this Queen of Wands, like thought patterns or a mindset that is affecting your confidence, that may be leading you to compare yourself with others, because the Hermit is very much about just like marching to the beat of your own drum and doing what is authentic to you and listening to your own inner compass. The Queen of Wands is confident. She says, I know who I am. I'm here on this world to be my beautiful, radiant self, not to be anybody else. Everyone has their own beauty, and I will do a service to this world by staying true to mine. I came here to be me. The Hermit and the Queen of Wands together, it's like reconnecting to your badass, confident self, because I know it's in there. And anxiety is so sneaky because it makes you forget that this part of you exists. You guys are strong, confident, funny, talented, radiant, inspirational. Like, you have that fire in you. You have that fire in you. But yeah, I feel for this group. It's like your mind or your brain is struggling right now. And something is tricking you that you are not this, that you are not that fire, that you don't have what it takes. And it's just simply not true. So actually what's coming next, I think, is a huge process of mental healing. Let's look more into this collaboration. I just want to get some details about it, and then we'll finish off the reading. Ooh. I've been so clumsy today, and also this deck is just kind of like rigid. But let's try that again. Okay, there we go. What is going on with this collaboration for group number 3? We have the 5 of Swords, the 8 of Coins, and the 7 of Swords. Interesting. Yeah, with the 5 of Swords, it's like this assistance or this collaboration. It's like something that you have been resisting, and it's maybe because you don't have the whole truth of it, or you're only looking at it from one perspective. This is a super random example just to illustrate this energy, but it would be like if someone, in order to be successful, maybe what they really need, like what would really be best for them, is to go back to school and like get a certain degree, or go back to school and get a certain qualification. But maybe they have this idea that like all formal institutions of education are like BS, or they stifle your creativity, or maybe it's like a false belief about themselves that like, I don't do well in that kind of educational setting. Like, there's no way that I could be successful. It's like the very thing that you need right now, that would help you right now, your ego is resisting it because you have some like twisted ideas about it. Or I don't know, like, oh, you have a business, you have a store, you should make a TikTok. And you're like, no, I hate TikTok. or, you know, just something like that. But it's like the very thing that would bring you success, we have some kind of resistance to it. Because like we don't see the full truth of it, or we're only looking at one aspect of it. Like that person who says, I hate TikTok, honestly, I would not blame them, because there's just a lot of toxicity on there, and there's a lot of like fast food content, because that's, you know, that's just how it's built. But that doesn't mean that TikTok is all bad. It can be an amazing place to share ideas and to share your creations and to make people laugh and to help people. Like, it's not all bad. And so there's something that you guys are resisting. You feel like it's bad, or maybe you feel like you wouldn't be any good at it. And this reading is challenging you to say like, no, it's not all bad. Or you could actually thrive a lot. You know, I thought that about myself in school. Like, I thought that I wouldn't thrive or like do well in traditional schooling. And then I went back to school and had a good time. So I guess just don't be too rigid about like your narratives towards certain things or towards yourself. Because what I see with the Eight of Pentacles is that it might be tough at first, but through consistency and through repetition, you will actually start to thrive in this situation. So there's like a person or an organization that wants to help you, or that wants to partner with you in some way, and you're resistant to it because of assumptions that you've made about that person, or about that type of person, or about the nature of that institution, or just the nature of partnerships in general. Or you might feel like you're out of that person's league, because it can also be like false perceptions about yourself. You might feel like you're not good enough to work with that person, or you won't be successful with them. Just don't be so quick to judge, I think, is the advice here. This may be an offer that is already present in your life, or something that is coming your way in the near future, but definitely keep that in mind. Even if you have like an initial aversion to something, maybe ask yourself why that is. Like, could I be making assumptions? Could there maybe be something good in this? Because again, there's that feeling of, if you distance yourself from reactionary emotions and really analyze like why you're thinking or feeling this way, you'll see that you're doing what you're meant to be doing, and what's happening is meant to be happening. And I think there's some assistance or collaboration coming your way that will be super, super beneficial, but it comes in a package that your ego is maybe not super familiar with or super comfortable with. And so we're kind of challenging those notions, I think. I think that is everything interesting. This is one of those groups where I'd be interested to know what is going on with you guys. But yep, those are all the messages I have for you guys. So I'm going to end the reading here. Thank you very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, you can check out my pick a card readings on Instagram, many of which are timeless. You can check out my pick a card videos on Patreon, which are also timeless and just like these ones, except for you get to choose the topic. Thank you once again to my patrons for coming up with this topic today. You can check out my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video that is an original song. You can also check out my latest release linked down below. And finally, I have a vlog channel, KINO Vlogs, and merch at kinotarot.com, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video, and we have that on hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, and tote bags. So all of that stuff that I just mentioned is going to be linked down below for you in the description, as well as in the pinned comment of this video. Thank you so much for supporting me and for supporting my channel. It truly means a lot to me, and just thank you so much for being here. Group number 3s, I'm sending lots of love to you, to your partner / collaborator, whoever this may be, as well as to your higher self, your spirit guides, your spiritual team. and all of your loved ones. I just saw 4242, both here on Earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, number fours. So if you guys chose the fire agate, this is going to be your career reading. We're going to start off by just looking at this list. This is everything that's going to be covered in the reading. So we're going to start off by seeing what energy you are currently embodying in your career. And we're also going to see what potential is currently lying within you and how this potential wants to be used and expressed in your career. And then we are going to see what is coming next for you. So this will be well, it's been kind of however it wants to be, but my intention for this part was a series of chronological events that are coming next for you in your career. And I do want to mention for this part, if there is a specific time frame that you would like to know about, maybe you want to know what's coming in the next 3 months or what's coming in the next year, just keep that time frame in mind while we are shuffling the cards, because I'm not necessarily looking for a specific time frame. That will be up to you. And then at the end here, we have a message and advice from your higher self. This is also coming out however it wants to. And so what I've found throughout the groups is that rather than this being like one message at the end, higher self messages and advice have just kind of been popping out all throughout the reading. But this is basically how the reading is going to go, a rough guideline. And I also wanted to give a shout out to the community over on Patreon because they came up with this topic that we're going to be doing today. But without further ado, let's get into it. And the first thing we're going to see is what energy you are currently embodying in your career. I am getting a message about sprucing up your appearance. That could be something that helps you in your career or just something that makes you feel a little more confident. Or that could be something you do for a job, sprucing up appearances, whether that is of people, of spaces, of homes, of animals. You know, like a pet groomer. Okay, let's see what we have for group number 4. What energy are you currently embodying in your career? We have the Archer, biding your time and planning ahead. This arrow is making me think of Sagittarius. So you could have Sagittarius placements or someone significant to you could. Sagittarius season could also be an important time of the year for your career. So late November to late December. But this also makes me think of being right on target, like you are doing something right. And I'm also, what's being brought to my mind right now is the Sagittarius cards in the Numerology Oracle deck. I believe one of them says, look at the bigger picture, and the other one says, luck is on your side. So those could be relevant messages for you guys as well. But we're going to read this from the guidebook. So this is the guidebook, and the Archer is here in the Academy. So this is a category of cards that is associated with development and growth. That is very interesting because the Sag energy that this reminded me of, that is very much about expansion. You guys could be working right now on developing skills that will help you in your career, technical skills, as well as social skills, I'm hearing, that could help you in your career. You could also be pursuing some sort of higher education for professional purposes, or maybe your higher self is encouraging you to do so. And then just on the theme of this Saggy energy, travel or learning another language or learning about other cultures could also be something that helps you in your career. You might have an opportunity to do a business trip somewhere far away, or maybe even get a job overseas. Or you could be interacting with people from different countries, like doing business with them. So knowing a bit of their language or knowing how their culture works and how they do negotiations, that could be something that really benefits you as well. If you are selling products or creating content or something like that, this could be your work reaching larger audiences as well. Maybe your work is even being translated. But let's see, we have the Archer on page 60, right here. 60 could be a relevant number for you guys as well. So, slender fingers trail the fletching of an arrow and knock it on the bowstring. Others training with their bows loose early, eager to prove themselves, but the archer knows the value of their own judgment and takes their time. A deep inhale, a held breath, a moment to aim. The arrow whistles through the air and strikes its target across the training ground. The archer always knows exactly what they're shooting for. Others around you may have targets full of arrows, but you know how long you need to aim true. Your own pace can't be measured against that of others, and your worth is not dictated by anyone but yourself. Don't let doubt make you falter. Take your time. Your arrows will fly true when they're good and ready. I love this message so much. So you guys might be in a place right now where people around you seem to be reaching success, and there might be a part of you that feels pressure that, you know, if my contemporaries are reaching certain milestones or finding certain success, then maybe I should get cracking. Maybe you feel that pressure to finish something at the same time as everyone else, or meet a certain deadline, or just kind of be on par with the speed and progress level of your peers. But I think something that you guys have done very well is to not let those thoughts get the better of you. And we've kind of been speaking about this in a lot of groups. Like, self-doubt is going to come to visit at some point or another, no matter what. And it doesn't mean that you've done something wrong if you're having a negative thought or if you're doubting yourself, because it's not about the thought appearing. It's about if you choose to entertain it or how you choose to react to it. So you might have those thoughts from time to time. I don't know, maybe your friend from college is like way farther along in their career, or people who started on their journey before you have more followers than you, or something like that. And I think while you may feel the pressure to catch up to them or to prove yourself to them, deep down you know that you are going at your own perfect pace, that you are not a late bloomer. You're blooming exactly when you need to for your journey. And also reminding yourself that getting something done sooner does not necessarily mean that it's better. It will always be better if you stay true to yourself and your own timeline. And remember that quality is more important than quantity. So I think you've just done a good job at not caving to those pressures. And there's so much pressure of like getting more done faster and just being an accomplishment machine. And that's not what you are. You're a human being, and you're having a well-rounded, enriching experience. Maybe that look at the bigger picture message that I was reminded of is about, like, your life is not just based on your accomplishments or how much you succeed or how much money you make. There's so many other things that can make your life enriching. Friendships, travel, like we spoke about before, enjoying your hobbies, enjoying nature. We should not even be measuring our lives in the first place. We should just be experiencing them and enjoying them. And I think that's something that you are doing right. You may have those thoughts sometimes, that pressure. I think we all do at some point or another, but you've done a great job of staying true to yourself, that is for sure. So let's get some, we're gonna get a couple more cards from this deck, and this is gonna represent your potential. What potential is lying within you that wants to be expressed? And we have the aspirant or aspirant, I am not sure, with ambition, diligence, and setbacks. And again, this key is making me think of education for some reason. The vibe that I'm getting for you guys, we have the Spy Master with another key, knowledge, knowledge and distrust. Okay, there is something that your soul is a natural at, but just needs some formal education or formal training during this incarnation to refresh their memory. Yeah, I'm trying to think of an example, and the only thing that's coming to my mind right now is swimming. So we are just gonna go for that. Maybe in a previous lifetime, you were an Olympic swimmer and you still have that skill in your DNA, but because your physical 3D body has not gone to swimming lessons, it's like you can't unlock that gift in this lifetime. But if you were to go to swimming lessons, it's like your cells would wake up and your body would remember, but it's like you need that training to jog your soul's memory. I hope that that makes sense. And yeah, it's like there's a hidden talent in you that needs to be reawoken through some kind of lessons or through some kind of learning. This could be going to school, like, because I was thinking of formal education, formal training. It could also be teaching yourself. You know, we were speaking about languages before. Like, let's say you had a past life in Sweden and then in this lifetime, you were born in the States. And then you're not just gonna be born speaking Sweden. Like, that doesn't make 3D sense. You know what I mean? But if you took Swedish lessons, you would just pick up like that. Because that past life memory, that past life knowledge is still there. It just doesn't really make practical 3D sense that you would instantly know how to do this skill, whether that is swimming or Swedish or pet grooming or baking or whatever it might be. This could literally be anything. But we need some kind of training or lessons to remind you of that. And with that being said, if you have been drawn to any kind of tutorials or online courses, a language that you want to learn, even a new hobby that you feel drawn to, it's probably because your soul is trying to reintroduce you to something that you had mastered from a past life. Yes, it's just those keys. It's making me think of unlocking your gifts, and they were specifically making me think of education. This arrow, which was reminding me of Sagittarius energy, it was also making me think of that. I'm kind of wondering what this distrust has to do with and what this setback has to do with. So we're going to pull some clarifying cards now to get further insight on these. So starting to clarify the Archer, we have the first house with self. And that's so funny because I had that little message pop up about sprucing up your appearance. We have physical appearance, early childhood, goals, desires, individuality, temperament, personality, natural tendencies, identity, and self-image. Interesting. Okay, this is very specific, but I feel like some of you guys who chose this group are maybe former gifted kids, or like when you were a child, school was just really easy for you, or you just naturally excelled at things without really trying. But then what can happen is you start to take that for granted. And then as you move on into your adult life and you go out into the real world and you have to work hard and apply yourself now, that can kind of be something that you never really learned to do. Because when you were little, everything was just so easy. And so that's like a double whammy, because on one hand, you're like, oh crap, I need to learn how to study and apply myself and work hard now. But it is also a hit to your self-esteem and your identity, because if you're a gifted kid or if you just kind of excelled as a child, a lot of the time what happens is like adults will drill it into your head that like you're so special and like you're really smart, and you identify with like, I can perform better than average without trying because I'm excellent like that. And then when you start to struggle to learn skills or struggle to become successful, it's kind of like a part of your identity comes crashing down, and then you can start to really doubt yourself. And so I wonder if some of you guys, when you were younger, it's like you could succeed really quickly or things came easily to you. And now that you're older, you're actually going at a very fine pace and you're doing quite well. But because things are not coming to you super quickly and easily, you feel like something is wrong. You feel like you're falling behind. Maybe you feel like you're kind of losing your mojo. I think your higher self just really wants you to know that things taking time or having to really apply yourself to be successful in something, it's not really a setback. There is nothing wrong with that. And it kind of sucks that I think we have this image that if you are destined to do something, like if you're destined to be a guitar player, then it means that you picked up a guitar at age 3 and you were playing better than all of the grown-ups. Like it was just in your blood. But you could also be destined to be a guitar player and sucked ass at it for many years and had to really work your fingers to the bone to become good at it. Such a person can also be someone who is destined to play the guitar. And so I just think, and Aries too, Aries is kind of impatient, and like if it doesn't go right the first time, then they're kind of sensitive too. And I can say this because I'm an Aries, okay? I can roast myself. Yeah, I think anything that you're working extra at is only gonna, because you're putting more attention into it, it may take you longer to master it, but once you do, you will be excellent at it. And it's not about being better than everyone else, but you will be, like, just between you and me because of the extra time and effort that you put into it. Yeah, and I think you know this, and I think your higher self is just very proud of you for sticking to your own path and sticking to your own journey and meeting your own frustrations without judgment towards yourself. Okay, so to clarify this I don't know how to say it, aspirant card, we have calling our parts home. That's beautiful. With serious and future. Very interesting. By the way, 92 could be significant, or 29 as well. It's interesting that we were speaking about gifts from a past life and you channeling those, but because time is not really linear in higher dimensions, you could also be channeling gifts from your future lifetimes. Like maybe in your next life, you're going to be a ballerina and you can channel into this lifetime some of that skill that you cultivated in your ballerina incarnation. Because like from here on earth, you might say, but that life hasn't happened yet. But in higher dimensions, they're kind of all happening right now. So your past lives and future lives, they're not really like this already happened and this didn't happen yet. They're all just happening, if that makes sense. So past lives, future lives, parallel lifetimes, you can bring in those gifts. And that might even be something that you want to think about. If you're practicing your archery, you can think about calling in. There is a version of you that is a mastered archer. And you can think about calling in that version of yourself. There's all different versions of you, because this is you, who want to help you. I hope that that's making sense. I'm kind of confusing myself right now, but that is what is coming through. And then to clarify the Spy Master, we have abundance. And it says, the more you share, the more abundant you will become. Yeah. I think that you guys deal with some self-doubt and some negative thoughts, but I feel like for the most part, you really are victorious over them, because what just came to my mind is that there might be a part of you, you know, if you look around at people becoming successful before you or at an earlier age or whatever it might be, there may be that part of you that wants to compare yourself, but then I think you remember that, you know, this other person over here getting their abundance and getting their blessings doesn't take anything away from me. And I think that this distrust is actually you seeing through a falsehood, seeing through a BS idea that exists on this 3D earth, that like there's finite abundance, there's finite attention, and us humans have to compete and fight for it. Because it's that belief that causes us to compare ourselves to each other and to get jealous of each other Like, of course, if you think that there's only a finite success and resources, then yeah, you're going to get competitive and you could develop animosity. And I think when your brain tries to trick you into thinking that way, you remember that there's enough abundance for us, for all of us, to go around many times. And actually celebrating other people's successes it raises my vibration, and it increases my, my energetic match to abundance. I also think that you are destined to have abundance in this lifetime of the material nature. And I also think you're the type of person who would generously share your abundance with others, which is very beautiful. 17 could also be a relevant number for you guys. It's reminding me of the star, actually, which is Aquarian. We have Sag energy, Aries energy, and this is making me think of Aquarius. Also, crows make me think of Scorpio. Yeah. Taurus energy could be significant as well, because all this talk of education, I'm thinking of the Hierophant. But yes, I think this is everything for the Oracle. So we're going to get into the Tarot now, and we are going to see what is coming next in your career. I have to say, I really like the energy of this group. Okay, what is coming next for my group number 4s in their career? We have the 2 of Cups. Some kind of relationship, some kind of union that is happening. Are some of you guys watching, are you the type of person who has a soulmate and then they show up everywhere, even when it's not a soulmate reading, they just somehow appear? Because I feel like that is maybe what's happening right now. Some of you guys really do have a career that relates to animals, because I have like such a strong image of a dog right now. So maybe like a vet, grooming, like we spoke about, pet grooming. You could have a little gig as like like a dog walker or a pet sitter, or maybe you volunteer at sanctuaries or humane societies or shelters. Maybe you study the biology of animals or something to do with wildlife. If there's something animal related. You could also just have a soulmate who is an animal. We have the 10 of Wands. The 8 of Wands. The 4 of Wands. Wow, it's a lot of fire. And then at the bottom of the deck, we have the Queen of Cups. Group number 4, I need to turn on the air conditioning because it is getting hot in here. And I should also probably drink water. Okay. So, as for what is coming next in your career, it's interesting that we have this 2 of Cups, which indicates a union, as you can see, 2 people coming together. And it's usually one that is emotional in nature, not strictly professional. So for some of you, this could indicate you getting together with someone at work. If you are interested in someone that you work with, that could very well be the case. It could also be that you pursuing your career leads you to meeting a soulmate. So for example, maybe you're a musician and then you're performing at a music festival, and then another musician who happens to be your soulmate is like, you meet them backstage. So it's not necessarily that you're in the same workplace, but just you doing your job naturally leads you together. For those of you who are already in a relationship, this could also be you starting some kind of work endeavor with your partner, like starting a business with them, or you're helping each other out in your respective jobs. If this is already something that you're doing with your partner or that you've considered doing, I definitely think you could be quite successful at it. Now, what I see happening for you guys, and I don't want you to get scared of this, but with the 10 of Wands, this, especially in a career reading, it can talk about overworking or burnout, or like the results that you're reaping not being like, it doesn't make sense for the amount of work that you're putting in, you know? Like, I put in all this work and this is all that came out. It feels like something's missing for the amount of work that you did. Some of you guys, this burnout could be happening simply because I think for a lot of you, it's like you're so passionate about what you're doing that you don't want to rest, or you forget to rest, or you feel like rest is frivolous. Please don't think that rest is frivolous. And even if you're having a really good time, even if your work doesn't feel like work, it is still exertion. It's still physical and mental exertion, and rest and sleep is very important. Others of you guys, I don't get the sense that you guys would overexert yourselves because of pressure. It may be because of some obligation or some deadline that is just very specific to this time. But I just see you kind of being depleted and exhausted because you worked so freaking much. For others of you, it may be because there is a more efficient way of doing your work that you just don't know about, or that you didn't have access to yet. And the 8 of Wands next to this, I think, kind of clarifies that, because the 8 of Wands shows things happening faster, more smoothly, more efficiently. You can get multiple things done at once. So one example of this is, I can use myself as an example. I have a bike, you know, and there's a lot of hills around where I live, like in the city that I live. And so riding my bike is very tiring. And I did not know that electric bikes were a thing. Like, I literally didn't know until maybe the past year. I don't have one. I just kind of accepted that, okay, when I ride my bike, it's going to be a workout. But maybe you are like a delivery person. Maybe you deliver Uber Eats or something, and you're on your bike for like several hours a day and going up all these hills, and you're freaking exhausted at the end of every day. And then you also didn't know that electric bikes were a thing, or you could not afford an electric bike. So there's a feeling of like, there's a more efficient way to do the work that you're doing, but you either don't know about it yet, or you just haven't been able to access it yet. And I feel like that's going to be changing. So if you can think about the work that you currently do, if there's something that you feel is such a hassle, if there's something that you feel like you are always so tired after doing this task, there's a high likelihood that there is a much easier way to do it. Even like in my music endeavors, I didn't know that you could, that in the software you can like export all of the tracks as audio files. I thought you had to individually export every track. And so when it came time to do that, I was like, oh my gosh, this process is like so long and annoying. And it like really didn't have to be. This was quite some time ago, but still, sometimes you just don't know, right? Yeah, so something's gonna be making the process more efficient for you so that you don't have these burnouts anymore. Or so you don't come home from work feeling exhausted. I'm actually getting excited as I read this energy, because I feel like a lot of you guys who chose this group, there's something that you've just accepted as being really tiring. You just expect, when I get home at the end of the day, I'm going to be freaking exhausted. I'm not going to have energy to do anything. And that's just how it is. But once this change happens, you're going to come home at 5 or 6 or whenever it is, and still be like super energized. Then you have time to, I don't know, maybe exercise, or you have time to work on your creative projects, or enjoy one of your hobbies, you know, or go hang out with friends. Like, you'll have the energy to do that outside of work. And you also need to know that whatever this is that you're implementing, it is not cutting corners. Like your ego might be like, does that make me lazy? And it's like, no, you're allowed to make things easier for you. Like if you could do the same quality of work, but it was easier, like why wouldn't you do it? Or that you could do it faster, why not? So you can have more time to hang out with your family, hang out with your companion animals. Like there might be a little bit of an ego thing. And not like, oh, ego is bad, but you know, there might be something like, oh, I feel like this is making me lazy, or like it's making me cut corners. And it's really not. It will help you have more work-life balance. It will help you have a more well-rounded life. I also think that something that you're going to notice over the next while is more and more people in your life are starting to become very interested in what you do. It will almost feel strange. And maybe it's a sign from the universe that like something big is about to happen in your career. But just going back to the musician example, maybe before when you met someone and you told them you're a musician, they'd be like, oh, that's cool, I do this. And then they would just start talking about something else. You're going to start noticing both like people in your life, like friends and family and maybe even your partner, and also new strangers that you meet. It's like the universe flipped a switch, or you're in like a parallel universe now, and it's like everybody just wants to know what you're doing. They want to, suddenly it's like, oh, what kind of music do you do? Like, do you write the lyrics yourself? Can I listen to your songs? Or like, what is that like? What is it like behind the scenes? Or how was your day at work? I want to hear all about it. It's like people just want to know. Everyone's asking about the work that you're doing and like taking a great interest in it. And it is going to feel a little bit like reality shifty. Suddenly there's a lot of attention and there's a lot of interest. And even if there already is, I think it's just being amplified to the point that you're like, what the heck is going on, you know? It does kind of feel like there's something has shifted. And then we have the Four of Wands, which I'm just realizing is like a marriage card. So yeah, definitely for those of you who are married or in a committed relationship, I do see you having some sort of successful business endeavor with your partner. If you resonated with meeting your soulmate at work or through your work, there is definitely marriage potential here. What can I say? But for most of you, this Four of Wands, I think, is talking about your home or your domestic life. So some of you guys, once you're able to do your work more efficiently, this will allow you to generate more abundance. Some of you guys might even be generating passive income, finding a way to automate more of your work or to make make a higher percentage of your income passive. That's going to allow you for more time to do what you want to do, but not compromise on your financial situation. And I'm seeing that many of you will be able to change or upgrade your living situation in the way that you want to, whether that is renovating or moving, maybe buying a house with your partner or something of that nature. For those of you who want to work at home, the Four of Wands indicates that this is also very, very possible for you. And I'm just noticing this is more Aries energy. Yeah. And this is, these are both Sag energy. Like Sag is coming through really strong and Aries is coming through really strong. I mean, I've named a lot of zodiac signs at this point, but fire in particular is strong for this group. And then the Four of Wands is really just about happiness. You're happy because you know that you're doing what you meant to do, that you're in alignment with your purpose. With this being a heart chakra card, like you're definitely doing something that you love. And then at the bottom of the deck, we have the Queen of Cups. And something that's really beautiful about it in this deck is, first of all, how freaking big. Oh my gosh, look, the King of Cups is right underneath. And the Eight of Coins. Yeah, you guys are definitely like working together with a partner at some point. That's awesome. But yeah, I love how big the cup is. Sorry, I've been like just playing with these astrodice. Let me put them down. Also, when I was holding these up, I just saw 3443, 3443 on the camera timer, which is like Empress and Emperor vibes. A lot of you guys might have a partner that like you are the same element, like you're both water signs, you're both fire signs. I think you might also be meeting a lot of people in the same element as you. But I was gonna say, I like how big the cup is, and I also like that it is wide open, because a lot of the time we see the Queen of Cups holding the cup really like close to her body, and it's closed, you know, being protective of her energy, being protective of her heart. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, a lot of the time it's necessary. But the fact that your cup is so open and like out there and shining, it makes me feel like you're in a place where you don't have to be cautious, especially with the success that you've reached. And I think this is like good energy coming back to you, because no matter where you were at in your journey and no matter what you were facing, I feel like you were always supportive of others. You were always happy for other success. I feel like you always had such pure intentions towards other people. And I think what you have manifested for yourself is that others are doing the same for you. And what I mean by that is, I see in your future that as much as you will be successful and thriving, I don't think that you will have to worry much about bad eggs in your social circle, or like jealous or envious people, or people who have bad intentions or who want to, you know, take from you without giving anything back. You don't have to worry about that kind of energy. And it's either because it's just simply not appearing, or it's because you've just become so good at seeing through that kind of stuff that they don't even have a chance to get close to you. You know what I mean? I feel like you're really in a place where you're letting your guard down and you're open and trusting and trusted, because you just know that you're protected. Like your intuition will protect you. Your spirit guides are protecting you. Crows could be a significant sign of protection, as well as butterflies for this group, and dogs as well. Dogs or wolves, or like, yeah, some kind of canine creature. Are foxes canine? I'm not actually sure, but they kind of look like it. Anyway, yeah, I think this Queen of Cups is representing you, and I think she's representing your emotional fulfillment as well. And is that everything with the Queen of Cups? I think so. And I think this was really meant to confirm like a partnership or a union that is happening for you. And it's sweet too that we had this 8 of Coins, because it's like a practice makes perfect. Success through like just repetition and like good old-fashioned hard work, which I think is what you guys are really focusing on right now. Not getting caught up in, you know, what if I'm not a natural at it, or if this is my destiny, I should just be good at it right away. No, you're putting your nose to the grindstone, and you're going to achieve mastery and success through your repeated efforts, and no one can take that away from you. Like, that's another thing. The same way, no one can discredit you. Nobody could discredit you for what you've achieved, you know? Because if anyone tried to, it's like if anyone tried to come at you with negativity or some BS, like they would just get shot down immediately, because you can see right through them, and also everybody else. Like, it would be so obvious. It's so obvious how hard you've worked, and it's so obvious how worthy you are of this success, that if anyone even had the audacity to like try and discredit you, they would just get like shut up immediately. And I guess that's just important so that you know in this future you are really surrounded by positive vibes only. Yeah. So you have such a generous heart. Like, it's just, oh, it's so nice to see. my group number 4s, like you have some affinity with animals, I think, with this Queen of Cups too. I think animals really love you, or you'll have a lot of animals in your home or do some work related to animals. But yes, I think that is everything. So I'm going to end your reading here. Thank you very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, you can find my pick a card readings on Instagram, many of which are timeless. You can find my pick a card videos on Patreon, which are just like these and also timeless, except for you get to choose the topic for those ones. And thank you once again to my patrons for suggesting this topic that we did today. You can also check out my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video that is an original song. And you can also check out my latest release linked down below. And finally, I have a vlog channel, KINO Vlogs, and I have merch at kinotarot.com, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video, and we have that on hoodies, sweatshirts, mugs, and tote bags. So all that stuff that I just mentioned is going to be linked down below for you in the description, as well as in the pinned comment of this video. Thank you so much for supporting me and for supporting my channel. It truly means so much to me, and thank you so much for being here. Group number 4, I loved your energy. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. And I'm sending lots of love to you, to your soulmate, to any and all of your companion animals, past, present, and future. They are all with you right now. And sending lots of love to your spirit guides, your spiritual team, and your loved ones, both here on Earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.